Alright, we are going to be looking at 100 cards that are staples inside cEDH, Competitive Commander, but also with one criteria. All cards including in this video are going to be budget cards, costing below €4 to be part of this video. First up, we have number 1, Unwind. It sees play in a lot of different control decks. Number 2, Goblin Welder. It sees play in a lot of different artifact decks, especially with reanimating purpose of bringing up big and dead artifacts from your graveyard. Number 3, Hushwing Griff. It's a good hate bear. Sees play in a lot of different Stax decks such as the Revi, Blood Pod. Usually Captain cEDH play this as well. And other white Stax decks. Number 4, Cross and Grip. Sees play pretty much everywhere. As long as you're on the identity color of green, you're probably going to play this card. It's really good. Number 5, Nature's Claim. The same thing. Also, whenever you're playing green, you're most likely going to play this card as well. Number 6, By Force. This card is quite good. 2/4 mana to destroy the artifacts you want to get rid of. Number 7, Mishra's Bubble. This could be played in every single EDH deck out there because it makes your 99 become a 98. But some decks can actually utilize this card a little bit more than others, like Joyra, that will pretty much draw 2 cards for 0 mana from this. Broken. But then again, there are more artifact decks out there that would pretty much like to have Mishra's Bubble in their deck. Number 8, Yisan the Wandering Bard. So he's not only a commander, he's pretty much a staple in a lot of different decks. He is played inside Captain cEDH. Yeah, he can actually be fetched with cEDH because he's a legendary, and then he can fetch other creature cards that cEDH can't fetch. But he's also played inside Blood Pod to fetch specific hate bears, and then he's played inside Darevi because Darevi can actually untap him and dig through your deck quite fast with him. So Yisan the Wandering Bard ends up in a lot of different places. Number 9, Windfall. This is pretty much a budget version of Wheel of Fortune, and there's a lot of decks that are playing Windfall. Number 10, Night's Whispers. 2 mana to draw 2 cards, and it ends up in a lot of different Storm decks. 11, Ethereum Sculptor. This creature card ends up in a lot of different artifact decks. It's been played in Joyra. It sees play in some more grindy versions of Breya decks. Arkham Daxon is playing this card. Number 12, Stone Shaker Shaman. It's a strange red hate bear that is anti-counterspells, most focused around lands. This creature card sees play in some Blood Pod decks, but also inside Prosh from time to time, depending on the meta. Number 13, Beast Within. Green spot removal that can pretty much destroy anything. It gives your opponent a creature, but that's no big deal. This is played almost every time you're playing green. Number 14, Demonic Consultation. This is pretty much an all-in tutor. If you have everything you need in your hand except 1 card from your deck, this is 1 black mana, get that specific card. But you can also destroy your entire library and win with Laboratory Maniac. It's really all in, and it sees plays from time to time in different decks, similar to Doomsday. Number 15, Relic of Prognetius. This is no color identity, deal with all graveyards in play and cantrip. And that is pretty good. That means you are going to need this whenever there's a high amount of graveyard decks out there that you need to deal with. Sees play from time to time a little bit everywhere. Number 16, Hurl's Recall. Pretty common inside artifact decks focused around Storm, but it's also a card inside some control decks. So this card ends up in a lot of different places. Number 17, Fairy Macabre. You can discard this card from your hand to exile up to 2 cards from graveyards. It's not really a staple currently, but I think it's going to grow. I think people are going to pick up this card a little bit more. Number 18, Dread Return. Really common card to focus around winning with. It sees play primarily in Breakfast Hulk, but it sees play in a lot of graveyard decks. Number 19, Ground Seal. a low-cost green enchantment that will cantrip and prevent combo wins from the graveyard. Quite good. Sees play from time to time when the meta calls for it. Number 20, Necromancy. This card sees play in most Reanimator decks. It is not the best Reanimator card to draw because it costs 3 mana compared to Reanimator that only costs 1 black mana. And Animate Dead also costs just 2 mana. So this is pretty much the worst version of the two. However, Necromancy has one more thing going for it. You can cast it in instant speed, and that means that you can interrupt someone who is trying to win from his or her graveyard by casting Necromancy and choosing the same target. And your spell will resolve first, meaning they don't have a target anymore, and you pretty much destroy their win con. Quite cool. Number 21, Smokestack. Sees play from time to time in different Stax builds, Maren, Bloodpod, etc, etc. Number 22, Defense Grid. Sees play in a lot of different decks that don't have the color identity of blue, like Yisan for example. Gitrog Monster also like this card, Prosh really likes this card. Bloodpod pretty much also really likes this card. By the way, this is not the cheapest version of Defense Grid you can pick up, but it has seen a bunch of older prints these days, so you can pretty much find one below 4 euros. Number 23, Goblin Bombardment. Usually a combo piece that finds its place in a lot of different decks. Prosh plays this, some Bloodpod decks plays this when they're not trying to go for Kiki Yiki, and a bunch of others. Chaos Warp, number 24. A decent spot removal for 3 mana that can deal with pretty much anything. When you really need it, it's there for you. Number 25, Hokori, Dust Drinker. So this is sometimes played as a commander that is quite decent in cEDH. However, this card sees play in a lot of varieties of deck. Captain Cece plays this because it's a legendary, she can fetch it. Bloodpot plays this. Darevi plays this. Darevi loves this creature card. Also, Selvala Explorer Return do play Hokori Dust Drinker. Number 26, Fiery Covenant. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, this card is good. This card is really good. It's an instant speed card that deals with a lot of creature cards. And I do want to point out a lot of creature cards. And don't worry, you're gonna have life enough to pay for this thing. It's a really good spot removal. Number 27, Animate Dead. It's pretty much the same thing as Necromancy. Sees play every time you're playing Reanimator. It's good card, play it. Number 28, Skull Clamp. Alright, oh boy, this card is good. So good. It's broken. It's only legal in Vintage, and that is why it doesn't cost that much money. It's good in Prosh, it's good in Bloodpod with Tana. It's going to be really good with a new creature card that is a warrior that produces 1/1 token warriors. It sees play in a lot of different decks. Number 29, Lightning Greaves. Usually when you want to give your commander haste, this sees play. And there's a lot of different decks out there that want to give their commander haste, like Arkham Daxon, Captain Cece, Yisan the Wandering Bard, once more Selvala Explorer Returned, and etc etc. Number 30, Charter a Course. It's not that hard to make this card be 2 mana, draw 2 cards. All you really need to do is attack with 1 mana dork and you're ready to go. This sees play in quite a lot of different decks out there. You might play this in Rashmi, and you might also play it in Darevi. But where I do think this card is going to shine the most is in Thrasius together with Tymna. Number 31, Sword of Parauns. It's a combo piece together with this commander Selvala. Usually you put it onto your Priestess of Titania. But other than that, this card sees play in a lot of different decks. For example, it's also a combo piece together with Krenko. Number 32, Good Old Counterspell. Sees play pretty much all the time you're playing blue. Number 33, IDs Unbound. It sees play in a lot of different Storm decks because it's pretty much 2 blue mana, draw 3 cards. Because you're not going to go to your end step where you're forced to discard 3 cards. Number 34, Torpor Orb. You can play this in pretty much any deck because it has no color identity whatsoever and it fits perfectly within Stax builds. Number 25, Instill Energy. Quite a strange card. It was once played together with Captain Cece, but once Paradox Engine was printed, you didn't really need Instill Energy anymore in that deck, but you can still play Instill Energy together with Yisan the Wandering Bard, and also the mono green Selvala. Number 36, Far Seek. This card can ramp out a Shockland, Duoland, or something of that sort. Number 37, Dig Through Time. Requires that you have a bunch of cards inside your graveyard to delve them away to decrease the cost, so it becomes 2 blue mana, look at the top 7 cards and draw 2 of them. Quite good. Sees play in every sort of deck that want to build up a huge graveyard and just toss it away as a big resource. Number 38, Dimir Houseguard. Mostly used as a tutor for 3 mana to find something that costs 4. There's a lot of different targets in this EDH format, combo pieces, etc, that costs 4 mana. But other than that, it's a sacrificial outlet that can be used together with Flash Hulk. So it sees play time from time. Number 39, Sylvan Safekeeper. This creature card sees play in Yisan the Wandering Bard because you can fetch it and prevent Yisan from dying. But also, it's a machine inside the Gitrog monster, pretty much an auto-included staple for the Froggy boss. Number 40, Flash of Insight. Another card that really likes to have a big graveyard, preferably with only blue cards, because you can flashback this from 2 mana from your graveyard and exile a lot of blue cards from your graveyard to look at a lot of cards equal to X off the top of your library and draw 1 of them. Quite good actually, and in decks that really fill up the graveyard quite a lot, this is really good. Is quite a staple inside Baral, because not only does Baral fill up the graveyard quite good, he's also going to loot Flash of Insight down to the graveyard so you can flashback it instead. Number 41, Faithless Looting. Sees play in a lot of Reanimator decks, so you can discard down the big creature card you wanna resurrect from your graveyard instead. But also, together with all that power of filling up your graveyard quite much, Faithless Looting sees play quite a lot, pretty much everywhere. Number 42, Rakdos Charm. It's a good control card that sees play from time to time. Number 43, oh boy, alright, this card is good. This card sees play almost everywhere. It's a heavy auto-include inside Yisan the Wandering Bard. You usually play it inside your Rashmi deck from time to time, and Selvala Explorer Returned also play Tamer's Sabertooth from time to time, depending on the combo she's operating with. Number 44, Avacyn's Pilgrimage. There's a lot of different versions of 1 green mana dogs out there. If you want to have a lot of 1-cost mana dogs, there's a lot of alternatives inside cEDH that are available to us. Number 45, Spirit of the Labyrinth. A really good hate bear that is sees play from time to time. Inside Bloodpot, for example. It can be played inside Captain Ceesay as well. Number 46, Necrotic Ooze. Usually the deck is built around this creature card, and it's not really a staple by itself. But in the end, there's a lot of different commander decks out there that can play this creature card. You can play it inside CDC Brood Tyrant, Tasigur the Golden Fang, and some people for some reason actually think that Muldrotha is a good commander, and I think if you want to play Muldrotha, you might consider Necrotic Ooze. Number 47, Stasis. It is pretty much a staple inside Teferi's Chainveil, and also Darevi. Number 48, Paradoxal Outcome, that sees play in quite a lot of different storm builds focused around artifacts, like Joyra, a perfect example. Number 49, Whir of Inventions. It sees play inside Teferi's Chainveil, Baral, and Joyra. Number 49, Phyrexian Revoker. A really good hate bear that can be put into any form of deck because it has no color identity, but it fits perfectly inside Joyra and Yisan the Wandering Bard. I pretty much think that Phyrexian Revoker is a core staple, a must-have inside Yisan the Wandering Bard. Arkham Daxon also really love Phyrexian Revoker. Number 50, Woodland Bellower. Sees play in some form of creature decks. Number 51, High Tide. Sees play in a lot of different storm builds. Number 52, Magus of the Abyss. Sees play in a lot of different Stax builds. Number 53, Strionic Resonator. A core piece inside Brago, the Eternal King. But other than that, it can be put into many different decks. Number 54, Natural State. A good spot removal for artifacts and enchantments. Number 55, Great Oak Guardian. A combo piece for Kiki-Yiki and Tamer's Sabertooth, finds its way into a lot of different decks. Number 56, Sylvan Scrying. If you don't have the color identity of black and you wanna fetch land cards, this is one of the cards to go for. Number 57, Nihil Spellbomb. One of the better graveyard interactions, and it cantrips, quite good, sees play in a lot of different control decks. Number 58, Path to Exile. Really good white spot removal for 1 mana, quite good. Number 59, Deep, and just flashback it for 2 mana, quite good. But Deep Analysis also finds its way into many different Doomsday piles. And also a bunch of different Storm builds. Number 60, Fierce Empath. Finds its way into creature-oriented decks, usually focused around fetching Greater Hoof Behemoth. Depending on the build, sees plays in Rush Me from time to time. I play it inside my Darevi Overrun build that is actually focused around winning with Greater Hoof Behemoth and a lot of Hate Bears. But Fierce Empath also sees play inside Yisan the Wandering Bard, because Yisan can fetch Fierce Empath on verse counter number 3 and then fetch something really big. But also, depending on the build, Edric Spymaster of Trest from time to time also plays Fierce Empath. Number 61, Nim Deathmantle, a combo piece. I have seen some really good grindy Breya builds focused around the Nim Deathmantle. Number 62, Rhystic Study. It doesn't see play in fast combo decks, but it do see play in a bunch of Stax builds and slower grindy control builds. Number 63, Waste Not. There is a bunch of Wheel of Fortunes and Windfalls that are happening around during this game. And for builds focused around having every single wheel effect they can get their hands on, Waste Not is a pretty damn good card inside those builds. It also sees play in some different variations of Blood Pod decks depending on the Stax orientated effect they are looking for. There is a bunch of discard outlets effects that Blood Pod can pick up, and if you're focusing your Blood Pod deck around this thing, then Waste Not is pretty good card for that build. Number 64, Myr Retriever. Sees play inside Arkham Daxon, but also inside Daretti Scrap Servant. Number 65, Revliark. Mostly used inside the package of Flash Hulk. But also, Alessia who smiles at death do play Revliark, because Revliark is usually part of the combo inside her build. Number 66, Damping Matrix, a really interesting Stax piece. It doesn't disrupt mana activations, so you can play a lot of different mana dogs together with this an artifact. Sees play from time to time in different variations of Stax builds. Number 67, Brainstorm, sees play every single time you play blue, pretty much that. Number 68, Ashnod's Altar, has a bunch of new reprints to it that makes it a lot cheaper. Quite good inside Creature Egg combos. Number 69, Blasphemous Act. Quite a meta call to play this. Usually, in the right scenario, it's only going to be 1 red mana. Number 70, Adventurous Impulse. And it isn't that bad actually, it's quite good and it's going to see a lot of play, I think. Number 71, Karmic Guide. Sees play in both Reanimator as a really expensive Reanimator effect, but also in Flash Hulk as a combo piece inside the Flash Hulk package. But it's also part of the combo build that Alessia who smiles at death is putting together. Number 72, Safi Eriksdotter. Mostly played together with Captain Ceesay as a combo piece with Paradox Engine, but Safi also sees a lot of play inside Flash Hulk, as it's part of the Flash Hulk combo, or one of the many different Flash Hulk package there is. Number 73, Armageddon. Quite good. Sees play in a lot of different decks. So, Captain Ceesay plays it, Tymna mostly plays it, the Celestia Selvala also plays it, the semi-competitive Hokori also plays Armageddon. I guess you can play it in Darevi, it's not that bad actually. And I've also seen a bunch of Narset Enlightened Master who do play Armageddon. Number 74, Dual Caster Mage. A combo piece, but also a value control card. You can use it to counterspell another person counterspell. Sees play from time to time, depending on the playgroup and depending on the meta. Number 75, Daretti Scrap Servant. You can actually put Daretti inside your 99, it's not that bad. He sees play in a bunch of different Reanimator artifact decks. But it's also a good draw card engine that will put a lot of cards inside your graveyard. So he has a bunch of multi-purpose function abilities in a lot of different variations of cEDH decks. Alessia Who Smiles at Death isn't just a really good commander, she is also a really good card inside your 99. She is played a lot inside the Blood Pod, but Alessia Who Smiles at Death can bring back a bunch of creature cards from your graveyard, and that might be good inside Nalea, Blade Blossom something. Quite interesting. Number 77. This might not be that popular staple, but I think it's going to grow. You can't destroy artifact at a lower mana cost than this. Number 78. Volcanic Key. It's a combo piece, but also a value piece. It's easily turned into a really good mana rock. Number 79. Wirewood Symbiote. Sees play in a lot of different elf decks. Number 80. Reality Shift. Mostly played inside Tassiger the Golden Fang, but other than that you can put it into many different decks. Number 81. Wirewood Lodge. Since there are so many different elf decks out there, Wirewood Lodge is quite a good staple. Number 82. Viashino Heretic. Sees play mostly in red Stax decks like Blood Pod and other versions of it. Number 83. Seasons Past. Sees plays in a lot of different value decks that wanna grind a little bit more. Number 84. Praetor's Grasp. It can be played inside Tassiger the Golden Fang. I play it inside my Gitrog monster build. Personally, Praetor's Grasp could be played inside every single black deck out there because it's a really good card actually. Number 85. Cursed Totem. Such a good Stax piece. Depending on the meta and depending on the playgroup, this is the card to play. Number 86. Cryptolic Rite. Nayela the Blade Blossom is going to make this card a staple. Number 87. Caustic Caterpillar. Really good card, sees play in a lot of different decks. Number 88. Copperhorn Scout also has the potential of ending up inside the Nayela the Blade Blossom Warrior deck. But it's already good inside the Revi and is a really good core staple for Yisan the Wandering Bard. Number 89. Reclamation Sage, a really good elf staple. Number 90. Birds of Paradise, sees play pretty much every single time you play green. Number 91. Null Mage Shepherd, a really good Stax piece and control card. Focused around creature, you don't have to play elves to play this, so you can put it into many different creature oriented decks. Number 92. Triskelion, sees play in quite a lot of different decks. Usually the entire game plan is focused around Triskelion, but in the end there are a lot of different decks that do play Triskelion. Number 93. Fate Stitcher. You'd be surprised to see how many different decks actually do play Fate Stitcher. Number 94. Bojuka Bog. Quite a good card. Doesn't see play every single time you play black because a land that comes into play tapped isn't really romantic. However, it sees play from time to time. It's quite good. Number 95. Nature's Law. You can fetch a dual, shockland or anything similar to that with this card. Quite good. Number 96. Eidolon of Rhetoric. So good, so really good. Sees play in a lot of different decks. Mostly Stax orientated builds. Number 97. Arcane Laboratory. Pretty much the same thing. However, this time it's blue. Number 98. Baleful Strix. A good grindy creature card that wanna slow down Tymna or other attack orientated builds. Good in the right scenario. Number 99. Quasilla Pridemane. A good Stax piece, a good control piece. Sees play in a lot of different variations of builds. Quite good. And lastly, number 100. Potentially one of the better cards inside this format. A really budget card and a really good card. I do actually think it sees play in every single blue deck out there, even in casual builds, but also pretty much in every single competitive build. However, don't laugh at me, I actually don't own the card. I'm talking about Cyclonic Rift. You can use it for 2 mana, and you can use it for a lot of mana, depending on the situation. And that multi-purpose function makes it great. And the fact that you don't remove your own board state is just romantic. You can pretty much sit there and wait until you have the mana to get rid of the entire board state of different Stax pieces and then score a win on your own turn. It's instant speed. But do remember, you can cast it for 2 mana to remove a really dangerous fast turn win from your opponents. So in the end, Cyclonic Rift pretty much ends up everywhere and every single time you're playing blue. Thank you so much for watching and take care everyone. This was cEDH TV.